First off, I'd like to say 75 years of fighting against fascism. We should celebrate the soldiers that died on D-Day on Omaha Beach. If we can have just a couple of moments of silence for those brave souls that died. Well, as you all know, this is Mega Gamer coming with another video expressing my thoughts and my opinions. They're just my opinions. I'm not asking for, anybody to support this or anything. You have your own way of thinking, you have your own points of view, and that's perfectly fine. That's what these men died for, so that we can all have freedom of speech. The only reason I'm bringing up this video right now is because not only is it June 6th, 1944, tens of thousands of soldiers died on the beach, Omaha, taking down the stronghold of the German Nazis to alleviate Europe of the fascism that existed back then. In a way of celebrating that, we should all remember the great sacrifice that they've made, and by doing our own part, by keeping our freedom of speech strong, not allowing any fascists that use other, titles. And this is actually towards a Carlos Maza from Vox, the self-proclaimed journalist from Vox. You heard what's been going on right now with Steven Crowder, whom I am a viewer of. I salute the man. He has his points of view like everybody else does. You have your left and your right, and everybody has a right to their opinions. With everything that's been going around, the demonetization and the constant, guidelines that YouTube is constantly pushing down our throats, you stop to think about what's really going on right now. What's the problem? Maza bringing up all this malarkey. He's like, oh well, it's because Steven Crowder keeps attacking me and he keeps using the F word. He promotes it on his whatchamacallit, his merchandise. I want you guys to remove him from the platform. I don't want him to get any warnings. I'm gonna call upon all my other gay people and have them harass Steven Crowder and anybody who follows him. And YouTube, you need to start doing your part by silencing everybody else who so far as attacks me and blah blah blah. This is bullcrap. This is bullcrap because this guy, this Carlos Maza, he's literally asking for censorship of everybody who has an opinion other than his own opinion. And quite frankly, I think that's pretty messed up. That's pretty screwed up, even from Vox, that now they're demanding YouTube to silence everybody who has their own opinions. I think that the only guidelines that should exist on YouTube is that people shouldn't be posting up videos of executions, shouldn't be posting up videos of people being beheaded or having their throats cut or being raped or anything violent like that. I think YouTube should have guidelines of not calling on others to harass other creators or other, such said journalists or people with different opinions. I think that YouTube is a platform where people can express themselves, people can express their thoughts, their opinions, give their own info on how they feel over something that they saw, how it changed their lives. That's what YouTube has created. It wasn't just created for funny videos of cats and dogs and funny little videos of family members and Christmas reunions and things like that. I think YouTube has turned into something even greater than just your regular funny content, haha, yada yada yada. It's turned into our only means of expressing ourselves, especially during a time where it's gotten to the point where everybody who wasn't a political thinking person has reached that level. Everybody has reached a level where we're all political. We've all reached that moment where we all want to give our own intake of the things that go around us. Everybody has an opinion and we all have a right to that opinion. Doesn't matter what side you're on. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're leftist, it doesn't matter if you're a conservative, it shouldn't matter. But as long as you're not being violated in the sense that you're not calling upon others to harass you or intimidate you or bully you, it shouldn't be a problem. If you wanna come up with your own conspiracy theories or anything like that, that's your right to do so, because thought is also an act of freedom of speech. Without thought, you can't speak. If you can't speak, well then, duh, it's kind of common sense. So this guy, Carlos Maza, or Carlos Mazapan, I believe to be a huge hypocrite. Okay, if you go to his Twitter, you're actually going to see him calling to arms, I guess if you can call it that, calling to arms other people of the LGBT community. They're using you, YouTube is using you, this and this and this, a bunch of oppressors and things like that. You know what? The one thing I can agree on is that YouTube really needs to start handling things in the sense that, well, I guess they should just do it with common sense. It's like I just said ago. No videos of people getting killed, no videos of people being executed or inhumane treatment of animals or anything like that. Anything that is subhuman, anything that people would consider to be horrific, should not be shown on YouTube. Now, when it comes to like maybe historical moments like Holocaust or World War II, things like that, it's educational. I don't think there's anything wrong with educating people on things that go around, things that go about. If you start silencing people on doing that, then you're doing wrong. You're doing the exact thing that these men that died 75 years ago fought. Okay, they fought this kind of fascism. Okay, and if you don't believe me, I'm just gonna read you, okay, a little something, because I do my research. Okay, I may not always have it scripted or anything, but just like my past videos that I did before, I'm actually getting to the point where I'm gonna have to start reading things in order for you to believe it. So this is towards Carlos Maza. You can take it however you want, and you can think of it whatever you want to think of it to be. Okay, but right now I'm just going to be expressing my freedom of speech through knowledge that I have acquired. Alright, I hope you're all ready for this. Please keep in mind, I need you to listen to every single word that I'm about to read to you, and then you can go ahead and define it however you want. It's your right. And I just won't delay, and I'll just start reading it, so pay attention. Okay. Once they succeeded in ending democracy and turning Germany into a one-party dictatorship, the Nazis orchestrated a massive propaganda campaign to win the loyalty and the cooperation of Germans. The Nazi propaganda ministry, directed by Dr. Joseph Goebbels, took control of all forms of communication in Germany: newspapers, magazines, books, public meetings and rallies, art, music, movies, and radio. Viewpoints in any way threatening to Nazi beliefs or to the regime were censored or eliminated from all media. During the spring of 1933, Nazi student organizations, professors, and librarians made up long lists of books they thought should not be read by Germans. Then, on the night of May 10, 1933, Nazis raided libraries and bookstores across Germany. They marched by torchlight in nighttime parades, sang chants, and threw books into huge bonfires. On the night, more than 25,000 books were burned. Some were works of Jewish writers, including Albert Einstein and Sigmund Freud. Most of the books were by non-Jewish writers, including such famous Americans as Jack London, Ernest Hemingway, and Sinclair Lewis, whose ideas the Nazis viewed as different from their own and therefore not to be read. The Nazi censors also burned the books of Helen Keller, who had overcome her deafness and blindness to become a respected writer. Told of the book burnings, she responded, and I quote, "Tyranny cannot defeat the power of ideas," end quote. Hundreds of thousands of people in the United States protested the book burnings, a clear violation of freedom of speech, in public rallies in New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and St. Louis. Schools also played an important role in spreading Nazi ideas. While some books were removed from classrooms by censors, other textbooks, newly written, were brought in to teach students blind obedience to the party, love for Hitler, and anti-Semitism. After-school meetings of the Hitler Youth and the League of German Girls trained children to be faithful to the Nazi Party. In school and out, young people celebrated such occasions as Adolf Hitler's birthday and the anniversary of his taking power. Now, the only reason why I read that is because you're seeing it happen. You're still seeing it happen right now to this day. I've said it once before, and I'm going to keep saying it until people actually start paying attention. The conservative creators, the conservative content creators, they have a right to express themselves how they deem fit. It's like I said, as long as it's nothing harassing, as long as you're not calling onto other people to hurt or harass or bully, I guess you can call it the opposition, there shouldn't be a problem to any of this. Okay? Because all you're doing is you're expressing yourself accordingly. I thought we were living in times where it was still sticks and stones. You know what I mean? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. But apparently we're living in times where everybody has been so sheltered, so spoiled, placed in their little safe spaces, that they no longer see reality of what life truly is. You're going to have people calling you out. You're going to have people calling you names. But it's up to you to be the mature adult, Carlos Maza, to go past that whole thing. If someone wants to call you some certain thing, then hey, you know what? It's their right to do so. You want to call them out? It's your right to do so. There's nothing wrong with that. Just keep it clean. Keep it in a perspective where it doesn't literally lead to any bodily harm of anybody with any kind of different viewpoint other than yours. I believe that everybody should have the right to, if someone that sees this video says, hey, you know what, Mega Gamer, you're a fucking cuck, you're a fucking Trump this, you're fucking that, it's, hey, you know what, thank you, you know, it's your right to do so, and you're welcome, because I'm here fighting for your right to say it. The same goes with Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder is on his channel, always giving us entertainment as well as viewpoints and as well as news from other sources. He is not a journalist. He has never said that he was. He doesn't consider himself to be any kind of journalist of any kind. But then again, he shouldn't be harassed by YouTube by having him demonetized. Now, I've said it in my past video, oh, boo-hoo, I'm not going to be making any more money off YouTube. You know, I'm starting to understand the need for that. Sometimes some creators do actually need that extra money in order for them to keep making their stuff, but not to the exaggerated point that most other YouTubers go by. As far as Carlos Maza goes, I believe that he is a hypocrite. He is a coward, because he's one of those tattletales, you know, loose lips sink ships. And that's exactly what's going on right now. He's literally asking YouTube to deplatform everybody that goes against what he believes in or goes against his viewpoints. Now, I just read that, so that way all of you see how the Nazi regime silenced other people with different viewpoints other than their own. And not only that, down to the point where they even destroyed valuable literature that they didn't agree with. There's a lot of things that both sides don't agree with, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should be keeping each other from expressing ourselves, because it's not just a First Amendment right, it is our basic human right. We all have a right to speak up. We all have a right to speak. We all have a right to have a thought without anybody interfering with it. We all have a right to debate each other. Sometimes there's people so thick-headed that it's not that they win, it's just that you can't get through their thick skulls. Carlos Maza is exactly the type of person that seems to give me that impression, that no matter how many facts you throw in his face, without resorting to name-calling, he's never going to get it. And just like right now, where I read that actual fact on how propaganda and censorship was weaponized to silence other people and to gain ground. Okay? And I know a lot of people are going to be saying, it's like, wait a minute, are you comparing Carlos Maza to the Nazi regime? Yeah, actually, in the kind of way I am. Because he's being hypocritical. Others don't have a right to say anything, yet he does. That is exactly what Goebbels did. he silenced everybody. He bought the media, and he used it towards the Nazis' favor, and nobody else was allowed to say anything. And if they did, they were rallied, arrested, executed, put on display, hazed in public, punished in public, and ridiculed and harassed, down to the point where a lot of people were even lynched and arrested. Okay? Yes, I'm comparing Carlos Maza to a Nazi, because it is exactly like what the Nazis did. You can't say anything to us, only we can say. And we can say whatever we want, but you can't. And now he's running like some spoiled little brat, tattletaling, "Oh, YouTube, I don't like Steven Crowder, I don't think he's funny, and he keeps harassing me by using the F word." No, he didn't. He said figs, okay? He didn't say the F-A one. He said figs. And he is not a homophobe. Neither am I. A lot of people are not homophobes, okay? But unfortunately, there are some people from the LGBT that believe that they are being harassed. And the worst part about the whole thing is that they harass each other. Don't believe me. They harass each other. LGBTQP harass other people from the LGBT because they chose a side, because they have a different viewpoint, because they like to limit their extravagant way of life, because they don't want to, I don't know, I guess appear the way that these other ones do appear. They're a little bit more conservative. They're gay, sure, but they're conservative. Okay? Carlos Maza gives me the impression of one of those spoiled brats that have been sheltered so much in their entire life that they don't like it when anybody goes against what they believe in or what they think. And the moment that someone does, immediately start running towards the powers that be and have that other person silenced. Okay? And yes, I am comparing him, I repeat, I am comparing him to a Nazi, and I just read you the reasons why that is. Now, if you can't see it, you're in denial. You're in complete denial. And I would appreciate if YouTube, instead of using guidelines that don't hurt people's feelings, because apparently we're living in times where everybody has to be in their safe space, knowing full well that there's going to be people leaving comments on their videos, then that's pathetic. What the hell are you doing here? I'm prepared to have people say, "Hey, you're fucking this, and you're racist, and you're a bigot, and blah blah blah." That's your opinion, but I can give you reasons why it is that I'm not. Okay? And it really wouldn't make a difference. Just like it should make a difference whether or not a person's feelings is hurt. Like Carlos Maza, his feelings were hurt. YouTube, I want you to punish him. Punish Steven Crowder, and I want you to punish everybody else who is against me, and Vox. Screw that guy. Screw that guy and screw Vox. Bravo to YouTube for actually standing up a little bit. Okay? YouTube, good thing that you're standing up for yourself, at least to that point. But I would prefer you go a little more further than that, down to where nobody should be demonetized or censored unless they're being violent, unless they're rallying others to harass another person, unless they're using doxing to harass that other person, kind of like how the KGB did in the Gestapo. Because believe it or not, doxing existed for a very long time. Except they didn't have the technology that we have right now, where it's a lot easier for us to do so. And by us, I mean everybody else, because I don't dox anybody. I think it's cowardly. But, there it is. Steven Crowder was demonetized, even though he shouldn't have been. Because I actually checked, and he had a contract with YouTube, and they violated that contract by demonetizing him. And I hope that Steven Crowder actually finds himself a good lawyer and kicks YouTube in the pants, to be honest with you. I'm not biting the hand that feeds, because that hand's not feeding me. So there you go. Well, that was my opinion on this whole Crowder versus Mazapan. Please remember, I am not asking anybody to harass Maza. If you feel you need to express yourself, do so in an orderly manner. Just give your insight, give your opinion. Do not resort to violence. Do not resort to harassment. Just know that this guy from Vox He's a coward. And there's no other way to put it. Because he's pointing fingers. And he's demanding that a person's livelihood, financial livelihood, be put to risk only because they didn't approve of things that were said about him. Like a spoiled little brat would. Because that's what Maza is. Okay? He's using his sexual orientation and his ethnicity to gain some sort of points for, you know, I have more say in this because I'm a minority, blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. Just remember one thing. Numbers talk, and they are super loud. And when you start rallying others to do your bidding, you're actually more of a traitor to them. Because you're putting them in a situation that sooner or later they will regret. And it's not through any kind of threat or anything, but as a personal regret. Why did I go along with this asshole? Why did I believe that what this asshole had to say? Why did I fall for this asshole's words of I'm just doing it for my people when he was really doing it for himself? Because this is really more of his own personal problem. This is a personal problem to him. Okay? Steven Crowder went after him, and he did it in a very funny way. He didn't do it in a threatening way. He didn't do it in any malicious manner. He went about it in a very funny way, and I think he's funny. Steven Crowder is actually a very funny person. Of course he is. He started as a comedian before he actually ever started getting into politics. But just remember, everybody, on this day, June 6th, 1944, American, British, and Canadian men raided a beach to push through against a fascist dictatorship known as the Nazi regime. God bless those souls, God bless those men, and God bless America and our freedom of speech. This was Mega Gamer. If you enjoyed what I had to say, please leave a comment on the bottom. Please make sure to subscribe, share, and hit that little bell notification for my next video. God bless America, everyone.